So how are you today, Antonio?
Thanks for having me, man.
So Antonio, for people who doesn't know you, introduce yourself.
My name's Antonio. I'm the owner of Höski. It's a creative agency based out of Montreal, although that's probably what I would have said 4 or 5 years ago. But now I would just say it's a group of people that make anything in the digital space. So web, video, ads, and been doing that for a while.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have a very diversified portfolio.
Yeah, I think that what prompted this podcast was the whole idea of me being a little scattered, a little all over the place.
Exactly. So we're probably gonna jump into that eventually. Yeah, in our discussion.
Are the riches really in the niches?
Yes. So what made you, put your feet into entrepreneurship?
The short answer is pain and suffering.
Okay.
The long answer is when I was 22, my father got sick, passed away. Then that made me shift my career. I was going to become an accountant at the time. I always had a passion for film. So when that happened, I realized that life is short, and if you're going to live it, you should live it to the fullest. And that prompted me to change career with the full support of my mom, who before that maybe had some reservations about me becoming a filmmaker. So after that, I went to film and graduated. So I went to Vancouver, came back, started the agency, and I got my first client at a Shopify meetup in the old port of Montreal. I saw a great entrepreneur by the name of Phil, and he was doing a live on Facebook saying, "Hey, I'm going to be at the Shopify headquarters." I saw that, got in my car right away, went to meet him. He has a matcha brand, which is very, very successful. And at the time I was like, "Hey, I want to make you there's a company called the Harmon Brothers, which make very specific ads, which I really, really like. They're very famous for it. I was like, I want to make you a Harmon Brother style ad.
I see.
On the cheap. Made him a storyboard, a vision board, and basically sold him on the idea with no website, no portfolio, no track record, just being able to kind of show it to him. And that what got me started. And yeah, we must have done 60 productions since. Been a while.
No. Awesome. I had an idea to look at my own stream. So Instagram, if you were watching this or listening to this, I had to switch to another account to see my live.
Oh, which is working.
Yeah, now it's working. I can see the chat. So PogChamp, thank you, Andres. Antonio has a really powerful story. So I would say, so that's interesting. You mentioned the time, and I see that a lot of, successful entrepreneur eventually leverage wellness for time. How do you feel about that?
Like health, you mean?
Health, like health, money, you have money, you have all the time.
A little bit. I mean, I don't know about all the time, but we're always chasing more time. I have been trying to buy back my time. So being a filmmaker is not scalable. So I didn't really stay in that field, although that's what got me started. That is what got me known in that space. I did transition to offering more digital services because it was more scalable and I was able to buy back my time. And it's been 2 years since I haven't done production. And speaking of which, I just came back from a 14-day trip in California where all I did was production. So we were filming a series for an insurance agent named Jason Suzuki. Shout out to my boy. But with a great idea, a great vision, and it's great because we went there and it felt like film school. I went there just to create. There wasn't too much stress about like, oh, how are we going to make money from this? We were just there. Things were covered. Everyone had time and passion. And I think we're going to be making something truly great. And I think that's really what I liked about film. So thank God that I'm able to have the agency that is running and pursue these passion projects, who hopefully will become bigger than what they are currently. But yeah.
Absolutely. So what are you most grateful about this journey? Is it like traveling, working hard, endlessly, what is it?
I think that what I'm the most grateful for is being able to pursue my passion. I think that's more, and this journey has made a man out of me, to be honest, because when I started, I was just a boy, and now I'm still not quite there, but I gave up a lot of bad habits. I've become disciplined. I've found comfort in the suffering. So now instead of picking the easy way, I'll often pick the hard way. So whether that's training, working, hiring, taking responsibility, doing things that are unscalable, that's what I'm grateful for, that I can even do those things.
So yeah, we were speaking about that in the car. So what were the words from leads or / client that made you like say, damn, I need to work on myself?
That's great. I'm drawing a blank, but there has been pretty much everything in between. I've had clients tell me that I would never make it, that if I didn't fix the way I was living, I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
So, okay, he's actually a good friend of mine. I wouldn't say it really impacted me, you know?
Yeah.
So one of the prospects or leads or friends or colleagues told me was, I didn't buy from you because you were out of shape and fat. Essentially, that was one of the things. And I was like, wow, okay, so image really is important. And I am one of those people that believes, you know, obviously I'm fair skinned and everything. I have privilege. Yeah, I say it. But I am one of those people that believes that no matter what you look like, you can make it. Because at the end of the day, people are buying the product and it's not always you. Although at the beginning, people mainly buy from you, they buy from people. The product is very, very important. But that really stuck with me. And instead of rejecting it or having like a big ego about it, I mean, obviously I was hurt at the beginning, but I got in shape.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned how to fight, and I took all that into account. And I do see people treating me differently. I do see prospects and clients have a little bit more respect because they see, okay, this man is disciplined. Even though at the beginning, I literally sacrificed everything to build this agency. I sacrificed my health, my sleep, my food intake. You know, I did nothing but stay in front of the computer and just build.
Yeah.
But people don't always have that like perspective.
Absolutely.
No ego, just business.
Speaking of this, did you find the balance, or is it like just full on work?
There is no balance. The work and play are interconnected.
Yeah.
So this trip to California was, 5 different cities, 14 days, 6 different shoots, handling footage, moving data around. It was a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I believe they're interconnected. And to be honest, my greatest clients have become my best friends. We have so much in common, and building things together is the most fulfilling thing that we can do. So yeah, it's hard that there's a balance. I mean, I think there will be more of a balance as I get older and maybe start a family. But for now, yeah, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to go as hard as I can.
I see. Yeah. Do you say that you like traveling? Speaking of the experience you had.
Yeah, traveling is great. I've had the opportunity to visit many different cultures, to see different perspectives, different businesses, people that have just started, people that have been in the game for a while, people that are getting out of the game, people who have gone bust, bankrupt, people that are, that went from 0 to 100 million very quickly. Honestly, I've had the chance to speak with almost 350 businesses, so I've seen a lot. So yeah, I'm like grateful. And the one, I mean, it's cliche, but the one thing that I know is that I know very little. So yeah.
That's really humble, I would say.
Yeah.
You sometimes, ego. Speaking of that, like ego, probably you have, some network of entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You see a lot of ego in that space.
I mean, I can only speak for myself, but yes, I had a huge ego, especially when I was starting out and I was actually making some money. There were some months where I would make someone's entire year salary in 1 month, and I would be like, man, I'm the shit, Yeah. There's someone actually that I got out on a date with that was like, man, you're so full of yourself, And they just told me outright, and it really stuck with me, and we're friends. We're friends today, but it's honestly, but eventually life shows you that you're not really all that. And having almost gone bankrupt a few times, it's taught me that at the end of the day, I am nothing, and that again just brings out more gratitude that I can keep going, that I can sustain a team, and that I can serve, because ultimately this journey is really about the others. It's not really about me. It's about serving the clients, serving my team, serving my family. So yeah, I mean, I definitely had a huge ego, and it's not all gone. I still see it emerge sometimes, but we have a much better relationship now.
How did you manage your ego? Did you find like tricks or tools to help you?
Like practicing gratitude, meditating, praying.
You do journaling, write stuff?
I journal. I wouldn't say that I do it every day, but I do journal.
Okay.
I do a lot of reflecting. I'm better with active meditation. I have a very hard time sitting still. So during exercises and going towards the suffering, to be honest, is kind of what helps me with the ego. Because if you stay in your comfort zone, it's easy for the ego to fester, right? Because it doesn't really have any obstacles that challenges it. So by continuously trying to push myself, it brings me to a place of like, okay, really, I can, just crush this.
Yeah.
How we doing?
Yeah, well, we peaked at 5 viewers.
Amazing.
The first live, IG live, man.
Hormozy, you got nothing on me.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, yesterday I was curious. I was scoring because like I was in my pitch practice event and some person mentioned Hormozy and like how he's currently shifting through branding stuff.
Yeah.
And I was curious. So I scrolled through his IG and was like, you can do podcast live now on IG? Like, let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's copy the master.
It's a great format. And I think Layla too is doing these lives while she does her makeup.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, I'm really a big fan of her. I think she's really paving the way for like other women to follow in her footsteps. So
that's interesting. Speaking of that, like, what's your point of view about gurus having, mentors? Because I know you have a unique point of view on that.
I mean, credit to Dan Henry, who got me started in this game, and credit to Chris, a gentleman from university who showed me the way, who showed me that, hey, this life is possible.
Yeah.
I'm eternally grateful for you taking me out of that finance class, which was super boring, and being like, hey, work on this, buy this course. And me, without thinking, I just pulled out my credit card, spent the $2,000, got in the community and just like started learning. And so I believe gurus are a great way to get people started. It's what got me chasing it, but there needs to be a self-corrected course along the way. Yeah. So ideally the journey is typically you buy the course, you think you're going to make it. It becomes a lot harder than you think. And you ideally learn and pivot and grow from that. So I stay away from tactics and I try to go more high level, more philosophy, right? Philosophy of life. Versus what my tactics are. Yeah. So, there are, for example, like if you take a video script or an ad script, you can break it down into like the 5 points that need to be said. But if you really look at it from the exterior, it's about authenticity and clear communication. And that's how I like to think of it. And I don't really bog myself down too much with the gurus. I don't really watch them too much. And it's the same thing with the trends. It's kind of a shiny object. I try to just stay focused on what I'm doing.
Yeah, gotcha. How do you manage? You said like sometimes ago you started to make decent amount of money. How do you manage that shiny object syndrome?
Well, at the beginning I didn't manage it, and I just would do whatever, right? Yeah. And I'm still not very niche down. And I believe that there is a greater longevity in doing a lot of different things. And once I find something that I'm very, very good at that gives my clients great results and that I love to do, I will just do that. Yep. And I believe it is at the core a combination of things. It's never just going to be the one thing. Yep. So, Jeff Bezos had a thing about this. It's like, if you want to go for length for the marathon, you got to do different things because things are constantly changing. Yeah. So, I don't know what the question was, but we kind of went on that tangent.
That's about the beauty about podcast, just like the natural flow.
You let it roll.
Yeah.
No ego, just business.
So I have a juicy question for you.
Okay.
Let's talk about business in Canada.
Okay.
I hear a lot of entrepreneurs say it sucks here. What's your point of view on that?
I can only concern myself with things that I can control. I was born in Canada. I'm a Canadian. One thing, having lived in South America for a little bit, is that it's interesting to go into a smaller pond. Canada is quite big. There's a lot of people with a lot of money. There's a lot of people just working normal jobs, which is totally fine. But going in a place where it's a little bit smaller of a market can bring you some really unique connections and perspectives. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting to make a little bit of money and you have some time, I would invite you to live in a different city for 5 to 6 months and see how it is. I think that can bring you some unique perspectives. And the same way when Canada was an emerging country, people came from all over the world here and built their lives and built their riches. I believe that is the natural course that you can take with other places. Yep. So, you got to go to where the tide is going to be, not where it is, right? Yep. So if you come here and be like, okay, I'm going to make it here. Well, a lot of it is already made, right? Yep. So you want to go look outside of that.
Absolutely. Speaking of this, like, what do you think still has potential here in Canada? Is it like real estate? What type of business?
We've become, this is my own perspective and it may be wrong, but we've become a country that used to produce a lot of materials too, producing a lot of financial instruments. So people that are in finance and real estate, people that are playing in those fields, I believe will make a lot of money, will continue to make a lot of money. If you want to make goods, maybe here's not the best place, but there's a lot of technology here, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. So if you're in that field as well, I can't really speak to that. I'm not a I'm not very good with geopolitics, but
Yeah.
that's my perspective.
Okay. Let's dive a bit in your personal life. Who is Antonio outside of this? What do you do?
What do? I like to microdose on mushrooms.
Nice. Okay.
But go on a little curveball there. No, I like to learn about different cultures. I'm a very big people person. The people in my team are from all over the world: Africa, South America, Canada, Europe.
Yeah.
I love to see those people connect, and I like to create those playgrounds for them. So yeah, when I'm not working, I'm just thinking about work. If not, I like to spend time with my loved ones, family, my friends, and I try to just surround myself with people that have the same ambitions as me.
Yeah. Are you comfortable, speaking about this dark, zone that you went into, and what helped you, move away from it?
Yeah, of course. So, when my dad died, I had a lot of anger and I had to just put it somewhere. So I just neglected my own body and focused into something that I thought would free me, chasing this kind of finality. But the reality is that there is no end to this game. The joy is in the process. So
Yeah.
I think that if you're going through a hard time, that's where the happiness is, right? It's not about getting to the other side of it, right? Everyone has to grieve. Everyone needs to go through those stages. But if you can find joy in what you're doing every day, that's where you can start to move on.
Excellent. And was there like a tool or maybe philosophy rule that you follow to get out of this?
Well, I think just my work.
Yeah. Work, yeah.
Yeah, it's my work, my family, and like again, going to South America, being challenged. That really put a lot of perspective, because you can't really change if things are going well.
Yeah.
So what happened was when that event happened, I had a goal to make $1 million. Okay, just total revenue. It was a good goal. But once I achieved that goal, right, I was able to focus on that and just like take everything else away and strip it down and just do that. So I did it. And then once I achieved that goal, then I was like, okay, so now what? And I felt extremely empty. I felt like I was aimless. What am I doing this for? That original anger and fuel that I was using was gone. So it's like, what is my new why? And anger is a great tool. It's, if you have it, you got to point it in the right direction and just fire it. But then when you reach that goal, you got to be prepared to pivot, right? So now we've passed the $2 million mark. What is the new why? And that new why has gone beyond my personal goal. It's about providing freedom to my team. It's about building great things for my clients. It goes beyond my own selfish needs. So, yeah.
So it's interesting. So I see that you're not really money driven, because usually people that are money driven, let's say, you fix a 1 million goal for your first business, but let's say we take the value of Elon Musk. It's like, I don't know how many times the value of your business, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel that people that are wealthy don't look at specific, I want to make 2 million, 10 million.
Yeah.
Get infinite growth.
It's more like, oh, cool, I just made that. Like, yeah, it's not really, that's the prime motivator. It's more of a byproduct of your action. So
Yes.
yeah. And that's also something. And again, I gotta give a few shout outs in this video, Jason, if you're listening to the Jason Lucas this time, sorry, Jason Lucas, you were right. You were right, because it's really about focusing on the product. For a while, I wasn't focused on what the product was and obsessing about the product. That's been a great place to put my energy in. So not focusing on the monetary value. Obviously, we all have bills. We all have to live.
Yeah.
Right. We all have dreams and aspirations that are outside of work. But again, focusing on the product and providing the best experience and the best service, that has been a great place to go.
Absolutely.
No ego, just business.
Speaking of this, I forgot the question, but do you think that people nowadays have a lot of time to spare, and maybe this is why we see all those mental illness issues going into really dark stuff, and filling your agenda help you?
Of course. I mean, wow. So just mental illness in general.
I know.
It's a business, right? Yeah. What can I say? It's a business. Yeah. I don't know if I want to go down all this rabbit hole.
Go for it. Go for it. No filter.
We're live. Okay. Yeah, right. What I mean by when we're talking about mental illness and people that have time on their hands, it's people don't know what they don't know. right?
Right.
If you look at these cars that are passing on the highway, all you see is cars, right? They all look the same. They're all going in the same direction. But if you zoom in, then it becomes more personal.
Yes.
Every person has a story.
Yeah.
So if you're so close, there's a great expression I love. If you're close to the, if you're too close to the forest, if you're too close to the trees, you can't see the forest.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're too close to your own environment, you can't see the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to be able to zoom out and just remember what's important, which is our health, our work, our family. And, unfortunately, sometimes the country or the environment that we're in, it makes it difficult to focus on that. Right.
Right.
So, yeah, despite everything, if you have a business and you're producing, it's your job to be able to help those people, right? That can't.
Yeah.
So I think for that reason, Canada is a great place to be.
Absolutely.
Because not everyone can fend for themselves. So it's good to have these programs in place that can help people.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in that.
Absolutely. What were, the biggest failure you faced when you started?
Failing people that believed in me, people that vouched for me. Personally, one of the things that still I think about actually a lot was when I have someone join my team, I try to make sure that I can sustain their employment, because people sometimes give up their job to come and join the agency. And sometimes it doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was contracted to build a team for a client, and we brought in about 8 people from different places into the company, and things seemed to be going great. And I made one last hire towards the end of our contract, and not knowing that it was going to be the end of the contract, of course. And that person had given up their employment elsewhere to be with the company. And then that company, without notice, cut the contract with me and, basically the 8 people that had joined. Me being a small agency, I couldn't recuperate all those people. I couldn't bring all those people into my side and pay them.
Yeah.
And that person was left without a job and in a pretty stressful financial situation. And the guilt that I felt for having convinced them to make that move is something that still kind of haunts me today, actually. So it's very important. It's made me understand the importance of, making sure that you're setting people up for success. And you're dealing with humans at the end of the day. We're not robots. And so that's, I would say, one of my biggest failures, besides all the obvious ones failing clients, failing people that believed in me, coming short on product. That stuff is normal.
Yeah. So do you think that you might have scaled up too quickly?
There are certain instances, I think that I personally scaled up in a healthy way. I went from, 0 to 5, from 5 to 12, from 12 to 25 people. And I scaled up naturally. Obviously, I had a lot of churn throughout the years. We've been 5 years of business. But at the end of the day, the team that was there was a representation of where I was in my journey. So for example, when I started the agency, I used to be late for calls all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, that created a culture where that was acceptable. And that translated into some of the work that we were doing.
I see.
And so it's very important to understand that you are setting the example, especially in a small environment like a startup.
Do you think that, all this energy that you portray reflects, how good or bad your business is performing?
There's a great thing to keep in mind that your business doesn't validate you. Yeah. In the sense that if you have a successful business, it doesn't represent you. And if you have a business that's not doing well, it also doesn't represent you. So there's that to keep in mind. But I believe that only is true at a certain scale. Yeah. When it's very, very small, it is a direct representation of you.
Yeah.
But when you reach a certain size and you have systems in place that allow the business to operate without you, then you start to detach yourself from that.
Well, that's really interesting. But else, I had some questions. Now that we spoke about failure, what was the most gratifying moment in your journey?
Being able to take my $1 million award and take it to my dad's grave and just sit with him and be like, hey, I know you're already aware of everything that's been going on, but let me tell you my version. And just kind of chatted with him about it and celebrated that moment with him.
Nice.
I still have my next milestone that I'm trying to achieve, which is to have my first 6-figure month. We're still chasing that.
Excellent.
But again, I'm grateful just to play the game. I'm grateful to be healthy, to be closer to my family, to have gotten through that part of my life, to be able to help others. And hopefully this podcast can inspire the
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
someone else.
And do you think that, shifting your environment help you?
Yeah. It's a great question. I'm going to say no. Okay. The change had to come from within, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe changing environments was what was necessary to spark that change within myself.
Yes.
But ultimately, the answer was within. And I believe you can get that change yourself. Although it's very hard, but sometimes having that break, going somewhere else for a little bit, coming back, that will help.
Absolutely.
But it is all within.
Absolutely. I also agree, changing that would help. And would you say that you had to cut, some friendships during the journey?
Yeah, of course. So not everyone understood what I was doing.
Yeah.
Some great colleagues that I still respect and miss today, I don't talk to anymore. Yeah, of course. And for all those people,
Yep.
I'm sorry. And yeah, that's just kind of how it goes.
No ego, just business.
Well, thank you, Antonio, for this little time together.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
And any last words for the camera? Where can we find you and everything? What you're up to?
Yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, no ego, just business. And if you have a business, don't give up.